Hi, welcome to this channel on magnetic energy, technology, principles, applications. This video is about magnetic nuclear fission reactors. This is the last video in this series, the whole nuclear thing, and it's highly unconventional information. One of the recurring themes of this series is that the scientists, engineers, etc., working in these top secret labs follow a different set of scientific principles than conventional scientists in universities and what have you. And it's not only that, it's a different set of, almost like you could say, a different set of the laws of physics. And so now the thing is, though, about that is they have, all of them to some degree, follow a magnetic etheric model similar to the one I talk about. And and they do that because it really unlocks the secrets of the universe. It unlocks like the secrets of gravity, of time, of space, of matter. And not only that, but then they have the technology to essentially prove that the principles that they're following are accurate, and they have the technology that basically changes gravity. It can alter time, it can alter space, it can formulate, reformulate, deformulate matter. And so all of these things, and it's all part of this process. The magnetic nuclear fission reactor is something that they've been using for decades. And in the future, as this technology is released to the public, this will be, I mean, fully scalable. So it's on, like, it could be in the average home of the future, the average community, and then of course globally it will be around, primarily to handle all the waste or garbage that's on our planet now, to completely get rid of all of it. But then if there's any types of waste in the future that need to be like redistributed, as we would say, it will handle that as well. And it's something that's quite practical. So the biggest lie relating to this, in terms of the conventional laws of physics and what conventional engineers and physicists and scientists around the world believe, is that the fission process always releases a tremendous amount of energy, and that's just simply not true. So in the correct pulsing magnetic field and the correct magnetic chamber and everything else, the fission process releases either a very controlled amount of energy, down to nothing, or up to an explosive amount of energy, depending on how it's managed. Obviously, if you force the process the way it's done conventionally through electrical means and everything, then yes, it releases a significant amount of energy, either through explosion or electricity. But if you follow the magnetic principles, then it's a very controlled release. And so these types of magnetic nuclear fission reactors, they have a minimum amount of electrical components in it. And they are, so the magnetic pulsing polarization compression leads to fusion. So if you have, that's like, so we're adding polarization to the process in this model. The magnetic pulsing neutralization compression leads to fission. So as long as as long as you keep the process neutral, then you move into the area of fission, and that's hugely important. So imagine like you have some garbage, whatever that may be. Could be anything from landfill. I mean, I'm talking literally any matter on this planet, even if it's been manipulated and altered by human beings, such as plastic or radioactive materials. It doesn't matter what it is. So you're going to have your typical magnetic, rotating magnetic fields that produce your toroidal fields that are counter-rotating and pulsing with, circuitry and the coils and everything. And you have to have the alloy like Tialco B or its equivalent to be like, basically your chamber must be made of that type of alloy to do this type of process. Primarily because we don't want anything in the process to take on polarization. So we want it to accept neutral magnetic energy and be able to have a very high pulse rate, or an adjustable pulse rate, however, like depending on what's in that reactor. But we don't want anything to take on polarization. So that's why you have to have that type of alloy. So the fusion process, I'm just to compare, because I've been doing the videos on fusion and now we're moving into fission. So just to give you a quick comparison. So in the fusion process, essentially we're creating like high magnetic compression with pulsing magnetic fields, and then signature resonant fields. So we're adding in like the signatures of elements, okay, that facilitate the attraction and then the combining of similar molecular structures. So we're always adding those signatures in so that we draw in the additional molecular structures and then create the combining of that. So we have a lot of pressure built up and a lot of additional, you know, additional expressions of those molecular structures. So like it's a super efficient way to use fuel and everything else. So it's the attraction of likes within the reaction chamber is the key to the fusion process. Now in fission, we have a kind of a different process going. So we're creating high pulsing neutral magnetic fields with no polarizing resonant factors. So we're not adding any additional polarization in, we're not changing any coil configurations or magnetic configurations, nothing to add additional resonant factors. All the molecular structures, they will be in a state of separation, but instead of recombining with similar structures, they will remain in a highly neutralized field and break down to their fundamental subatomic components in a highly accelerated redistribution fission process that leaves an insignificant amount of matter remaining in the reactor. And so the redistribution for us is like, it's basically like turning the matter, essentially it looks like it's turning into nothing, but it's turning into its subatomic components, and then being released in through the exit of the torus fields, the counter-rotating torus fields, that then release it back into the universal flow. So it's the attraction of interdimensional likes as the subatomic components are attracted back into the etheric magnetic universal flow. So the difference here is in the fusion process, the attraction of likes takes place inside the reaction chamber, so that we get more and more and more and more of those molecular structures. We keep attracting them. In the fission process, we're basically creating a neutral attraction of likes that is interdimensional. So as we break it down, those subatomic components naturally get attracted back into the universal flow that is predominantly neutral, into that etheric magnetic flow. And so you kind of get the idea, like in terms of your house, or whatever it is, you put garbage in there, you turn the thing on, it automatically turns it all back into its subatomic components into relatively neutral energy that goes back into the universal flow. Now there will be reactive chambers, reaction chambers, power plants, whatever, around the world that will essentially get rid of every form of garbage and pollution on this planet when this technology is released. And so this is the primary process that will convert all garbage, all pollution on this planet into neutral magnetic etheric energy and rid it permanently. And so that's partly why I had to put this video in here just to get that out there. Please send in any questions and comments that you have on this, and I will see you next time, hopefully with a different set of topics, because I'm kind of done with the nuclear thing. It's just way too dangerous for me to be talking about all this stuff. So I will see you again next time.